feel stuck in a certain stage of business. Why don't they just get it? But just like in any relationship, sometimes when you go inwards and you look at like, wait, what is it that I'm not getting? What do I need to change about how I communicate, about how I show up? It can change the whole dynamic of a relationship. And we forget that that's the same with your customers and with your audience. Figuring out what it is that you need to change to communicate better to them. And, just seeing them again as that individual person is what can really shift and change that whole dynamic of a relationship.
Welcome to the e-commerce podcast with me, your host, Matt Edmondson. Now, the e-commerce podcast is all about helping you deliver e-commerce wow. And to help us do just that, today I'm going to be chatting with Monica Sharma-Patnekar about discovering the human element behind the numbers. It's an intriguing title. I can't wait to get into it. But before we dive into our discussion, let me share with you my previous podcast pick. Oh yes, a previous podcast episode that I think you'll enjoy. And yes, there's a lot of P's in that. So check out top content and marketing advice for your online business from Tim Hughes, or check out From Startup to Growth with Maureen Mwangi. Another great episode. You can get access to my podcast picks or our entire podcast archive for free on our website at ecommercepodcast.net. Plus, if you sign up to our newsletter, we'll send you the links to our podcast picks along with the notes and of course the links from today's show with Monica. They all get delivered straight to your inbox at no cost to you, which is pretty amazing. Now, I'm sure you've come across, right, a bunch of folks stuck with their e-commerce business. You may even be one of them. You may have got siloed like I did, working on just one or two areas of your business and miss the big picture. Well, enter e-commerce cohort to solve this problem. It's a lightweight membership group with guided monthly sprints that cycle through all the key areas of e-commerce. Yes, the sole purpose of cohort is to provide you with clear, actionable jobs to be done so you'll know what to work on and get the support to get it done. So whether you are just starting out in e-commerce, or if, like me, you're a well-established e-commercer or a bit of a dinosaur, as some people like to say, I encourage you to definitely check out ecommercecohort.com. That's ecommercecohort.com, especially if you're in e-com. I mean, just go and check it out. Have a look. Let me know what you think. It's awesome. I'm in there every month. We've got some great people doing some great coaching in there as well. Some amazing stuff's come out of it the last few weeks, but do check it out. Okay, let's talk about Monica. She is an e-commerce brand mentor and consultant, a purpose-driven digital brand marketing and strategy professional with, check this out, 17 years of global experience building brands. She's worked across diverse sectors from companies from Fortune 500 to scale and startups. In other words, the ideal guest for the show. Oh yes, Monica, welcome to the show. Great to have you all the way from sunny Amsterdam. At least I hope it's sunny. How are you doing?
Hi, Matt. Thanks for having me on. Yes, I'm all good. It's sunny now after a stormy night.
Well, it's good for you. It's not sunny here. At least it's not raining, I suppose. That's a bonus, isn't it, here in Liverpool? So have you always been native to Amsterdam, or have you sort of arrived there at some point?
No, native to Holland. I'm born and raised here. I always say Indian by heritage, Dutch by birth. Grew up in The Hague. My family's all there, but I've been living in Amsterdam for over 10, 11 years now as well. So yeah.
Fantastic. Lovely part of the world, and definitely put on the tourist list. Yeah. No, that's awesome. So, with your experience in sort of building purpose-driven brands, Monica, I'm curious to know, how do you think tapping into the sort of the human aspect of brand growth can lead to, say, a more sustainable and successful business in today's fast-paced e-commerce landscape? That's a heck of a first question, isn't it? So let's just jump straight in.
That's a very big first question. There's so much I can say about that. So let me dive in. I think you, like you said, you said it, the fast-paced e-commerce world. And I think over the last few years, decade, it has become such a huge numbers game, right?
Yeah.
No, so much. If this is your conversion rate, this is the traffic, what should we tweak to do that? Sometimes it feels like it's a little game, what can you tweak to just increase those numbers? And yes, numbers are important in business. You need to know your numbers.
Hmm.
But if we just take a step back and just think about it from the bigger picture, depending what stage of business you're at, you're either getting, I don't know, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 website visitors. And that's how we look at it, like, oh, traffic coming in. But that's 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 individual human beings
Yeah.
coming to your site
Mm.
on a monthly basis. And imagine the ones interacting with you on social media, reading your emails, clicking through, individual, actual human beings. Now, if you had those people walking into a store or at an event that you were speaking at, how would you interact with them? As humans, we want to be seen, we want to be understood, we want to be heard. And people buy from brands that do that for them,
Yeah.
that they can relate to. And the biggest brands in the world you'll see are the ones that are able to tap into that, because people buy, especially in higher price category, not the daily grocery shopping I'm talking about, but actually those things that are the wants in life, because of how it makes them feel. And being able to recognize that these are actually individual human beings coming to their site, I always challenge people, like, how would you speak to them if that's how you
Yeah.
started, if that's how you thought about it? What would you be telling them versus just seeing those as another number on your website or in your analytics?
Yeah, that's a very good point. It's funny, isn't it? Because I was talking to someone about this the other day, in the sense that we've had, we were talking about one of the YouTube videos we've put out
Yeah.
that's had, I put it out, it was honestly, Monica, it was the simplest YouTube video.
Yeah.
Anyway, we put out this video, it's 2.5 minutes long, about how to create a PowerPoint. I think I put it out like 10 years ago. Do you know what I mean? It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's well out of date. Let me just tell you, because PowerPoint has evolved. But I put this video out and it's had over 1 million views, right?
Yeah.
And I was talking to somebody about that the other day. That's 1 million people
Yes.
have watched the video. And I'm thinking, when I go and watch Liverpool, I'm a bit of a Liverpool fan, because let's just not go there. Anyway, when I go to the stadium, there's 50,000 people in that stadium, right?
Exactly.
That's 20 times that amount of people have watched my video. And that's just one of the videos. And it blows my mind when you think about it like that.
Exactly. And that's my point. And so often we are busy thinking, like, oh, those people are not getting our message, or they're not understanding. How do I find more of them? Or I feel stuck in a certain stage of business. Why don't they just get it? But just like in any relationship, sometimes when you go inwards and you look at, like, wait, what is it that I'm not getting? What do I need to change about how I communicate, about how I show up? It can change the whole dynamic of a relationship. And we forget that that's the same with your customers and with your audience. Figuring out what it is that you need to change to communicate better to them.
Mm-hmm.
And, just seeing them again as that individual person is what can really shift and change that whole dynamic of a relationship. And I think sometimes that's where we've skewed too much to the numbers. We need to find that balance between the two and find, okay, that midway. And I'm seeing that happening. I'm finally seeing Facebook ad experts now talking about, oh, wait, we need to understand the customer. The algorithm is no longer working for us. It's about the messaging now. We can't just expect things. So you're seeing these conversations finally starting to happen. And I'm so happy about that. But I still see a lot of people hesitant to do that. And I really challenge everyone to take that step back and just think of each person as an individual human being coming to your store that you are able to speak to.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a fair point. I think just if you look at your daily traffic numbers and then go, well, okay, I've had whatever, 1,000, 2,000 people. If you imagine those 2,000 people in an arena, just sort of walking through, it's kind of like you're going to change how you're not going to be tolerating necessarily the stuff on your website that you probably should be tolerating. Anyway, you said that this makes you super happy, right? That this sort of more of a recognition in this area. Yeah. Why does that make you super happy? What sort of drives you in this whole area?
Well, I think what we forget is that, business or anything in life, I mean, in that sense, it's about customer relationship. It's all about relationships, right? And we are so focused on that really quick ROI, quick return on investment, whereas we forget that business is a long-term game. To build a long-term, sustainable, profitable business, it takes time, right? I can quote a lot of things, it takes on average 3 years to build a profitable business or break even. Even if I look at some of the largest businesses in the world that we all admire, some of them not even profitable or cash flow positive, right?
Yeah.
So, but still, everybody's like, what can I do now to see 10 times ROI in the next 30 days? And what we need to take that step back, it's really about building those relationships for the long term and customer loyalty. And, just speaking to people as human beings and saying, okay, what do they need to hear from me? How do they guide them to the customer journey? How do they help them and understand better what my products are about and what I do and why it would help them? And for me, it's really about building those long-term sustainable and profitable businesses, and not just that one-time fly-by-night business that may shut down in the next 6 months to a year. And also, as a business owner, to be able to have fun in your business, not just surviving, but really thriving and having some fun whilst doing it, and growing that business is going to help you sustain whatever lifestyle you want.
Yeah. No, I'm a big fan of having fun in
Yes.
business. We should do a whole podcast on that one day, just how to have fun in business.
Yes.
Because I feel like that's a bit of a lost art in itself. Everyone's got a little bit too serious. And you're just like, no, it's fine. It's okay. It's okay to have a bit of fun.
Exactly.
You don't have to be Google. That was the other thing that I noticed. Everybody was like, well, Google's fine. They can do the fun things because they're a big enough company. And you're like, no. You can do it because you're small.
Exactly. I don't think a lot of the businesses are doing the fun things. That's the opportunity we have as a small business owners, to really connect with your customers and have some fun doing it.
So what have you seen then, as we're talking about fun? Because I could wax lyrical about this all day, genuinely. What sort of things have you seen, or what sort of things do you perceive to be fun then when it comes to customers? How can we do that?
First of all, it's really, really going back to fundamentals, getting to know your customers. The one thing I think people still don't do enough, and I have seen this create real shifts in people's, not just businesses, but mindset and how they start showing up. But really going back to understanding who your customer really, really is. What are the core needs, wants, and desires? Why are they buying? And then looking at, okay, how do I deliver that, and what's the value I bring to it? But just even having those customer conversations, it's those deep dive customer interviews is when I start people having a little more fun in their business. They're like, oh, okay, this is who I'm doing it for. This is what they really want. It's not what I thought. And it just changes how you completely show up.
Yeah, no, fair, very good, very true. But so the getting to know your customers aspect of it, you mentioned they're doing customer interviews. Is that what you do? Is that the route I'm going to go down to get to know my customer?
Yes, absolutely. Of course, there are things you can do around it. There's your analytics that will show you information. It's always great to dive into all the testimonials, reviews, any content, any conversations you've had, and even surveys, but they don't allow you to dive deeper into motivations and the why, and really understand deeper what's going on with your customer. So customer interviews, I always say, is non-negotiable. Whether you choose to do it as a group with a focus group or individual one-on-one, you have to be speaking to your customers and really getting to know them. Yes, absolutely.
That's really intriguing. So let's say, because Monica, I know 1,000 businesses that have never interviewed their customers, right?
Yes.
And most
I know many more.
Yeah. How do you get started with that? Is that just a case of I'm just going to go down my customer, I'm going to pick this customer's bought 3 times, so I'm going to call them up and go, hello, Susan, it's Matt here from Acme Corp. I see you've purchased from us 3 times. Can I ask you some questions about it? Is it as simple as that, or is there a bit more to it?
Well, it could be as simple as that, but I always say to first reach out to your customers, email them. And I always say it's really great. You start with those customers who are the most loyal, because those are the easiest. Obviously, you'll have the customers who purchased from you really often. They're the ones who maybe only purchased once and stopped. And then there are people who you've seen have been following you, opening your emails, but just not buying. And it's really nice to be able to, speak to different people from those groups. But start with the most loyal ones, because those are the easiest. Email them, reach out to them, and just say, I'm looking to, serve you better and improve my business. Would you have some time to speak to me? And then you'll see that quite a few people do respond, and that makes it so much easier to get on a call, because then it's not like a cold call where people are going to think, are you trying to pitch me something? No, so just email them, reach out to them first, and people will tend to respond, and then get onto a call with them. Yes.
Fantastic. And would you would you incentivize the customer to do that, or is it just you don't need to? You don't. Your
You don't
experience
need
is.
My experience is that you don't need to, but I always do say I love just giving somebody as a thank you. It's like a little gift for your time. Thank you for your time. Here's a voucher, or here's something from my store. It's just a nice gesture, right? To give
Yeah.
something back for somebody's time. You don't have to, but it just adds that one level of appreciation for somebody's time.
So let's role play a little bit, Monica. And now, I've emailed you, Monica. You've purchased from us 3 or 4 times. We'd love to have a conversation. Are you up for that? I guess they have used something, like Zcal or something like that to schedule a time that works for them, right? And am I doing this call on Zoom?
Whatever works. Zoom is great because you can record the conversation. It's nice to have it face to face, right? It always makes a difference. Zoom is great. You can record it to listen back to it. And I always say, and if somebody's really reluctant, then obviously a phone call. But try and do it as much as possible on like a video call where you can also see the person and record it for yourself, just to be able to take notes later as well. Yes.
Yeah, that's an important point, I guess, taking the notes later. As much as you hate listening to your own voice, watching back the video was actually going to help you make a better call next time, I would have thought, right?
It makes a better call. It will help you pick out actual little quotes and, swipeable words that you can use. But it's so difficult when you're in a conversation to note down everything somebody's saying, right? And really pick out everything. So it's really good to just be able to listen back and make sure you haven't missed any of the important things.
Fair play. It's a bit like how I do podcasts, Monica. I'm not going to lie. I take down very basic notes as we go along, and then we have it transcribed, and we can pull out some really good information. Okay. Well, this is a beautiful thing. So we're on a Zoom call then, chatting. What sort of things am I going to want to ask you? Like, how do I know what questions to ask? Because I think that scares people.
In general, I think conversations like these scare people because I sense a fear. People have a fear of rejection. That people may not want to speak to them. They're afraid of any kind of criticism they may hear. My quick reminder here would be people love helping, especially small business owners. And people love, again, back to that connection piece we talked about right in the beginning. People love connecting. They want to be seen, heard, and understood. And they feel, every customer I've worked with has come back to me and said, oh my God, some of those people I interviewed became my loyal customers because they said, you actually care. Many businesses don't do this. So it is scary because you haven't done it before. The more often you do it, the easier it gets. But just remember that people do love helping people and they want to be understood. So this is a great chance to also differentiate yourself and show that you care about them. And then in terms of the questions to ask, I have actually broken it down into a framework, 4Ds. So it's desires over demographics. And obviously we do start a bit with the demographic, just get some of the factual information about them. It just creates a good picture and a perspective. And if you do ever do advertising and targeting, it will give you some great information to have up front. So make sure you get those demographics down. Then for me, one of the most key elements is desires, which I call it. So who is this person? What's going on in their life? What are their struggles? What makes them happy? What can help them get more of those moments? What do they really want in life? And what's happening? So a lot of times people forget this box because they want to straight go into their products. But just like I said, people buy because of how your product makes them feel. You're not just selling a product. It's a feeling and experience, and it's about how that product fits into their lifestyle. So really try to understand that person beyond just the product that you're selling. And that's why this box is super important to understand. And then we go into the third one, which I call do. This is about behaviors. How do they behave within their your category of products? What are they doing? Where do they find you or competitors? How do they get to you? Why are they buying? What's stopping them from buying? The triggers and barriers to buy? How does that whole experience of shopping with you make them feel? And then the final one is delight. How that entire shopping, what really makes them happy? What would they tell others about you? What would they tell others about the competitors they're buying from? From the whole shopping experience to actually getting the products at home. What do they really love about it? What makes them really happy? And what could you be doing there for doing better? So it's really about understanding that person, demographics and desires, and then understanding the whole more specific to your product and category and how they purchase and what makes them happy. So those are the 4Ds.
Fantastic. So I've got demographics, desires, do, and delight.
Yes.
I got that down right?
Absolutely.
Score me. Okay, so how long do these conversations take?
They do take, I would say, budget easily anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour.
Oh, wow.
If you
And do
want
you
to do
tell,
them well, yeah.
yeah, if you want to do them well. So 45 minutes to an hour, ironically the same length of time as my podcast. I'm just saying.
Yes.
It's almost like it's written in the stars. So I'm sort of chatting away 45. Am I letting the client know it's going to take that long in the original email?
Yes, obviously. I usually say around 40 minutes to 45 minutes. And then if it takes another 10, 15 minutes longer, people don't mind.
Yeah, people give you a little bit of grace, don't they? But I guess if you tell them it's an hour, they'll freak out.
They may freak out. So I always say around 40 minutes, 45 minutes max, and then if it goes over, and usually people end up enjoying the conversation once they're on, so they don't mind. And they like giving so much information away. So it tends to go over naturally. So you don't have to worry so much.
Yeah, very good. And how do you prevent then? I kind of know how you're going to answer this question, Monica, but I feel like I need to ask it. How do you prevent this scenario where I just happen to call that one particular person who is the outlier and they are completely different to everybody else, right?
Yeah.
And it just is just random luck that I've picked this one person, or maybe these 2 or 3 people who are over there, but 97% of people are over here. How do I know that I've done that, I guess?
So first of all, you're not just doing one interview, right? You're going to be doing multiple. So you will start seeing a trend in the ones that are sticking out a little bit. I mean, it's as simple as that. And I think you need to keep doing these over a longer period of time as well for yourself. Don't just make this a one-time thing and I'm done, because your business evolves, everything evolves, markets evolve, customers evolve. So keep doing that. And another way to do it is also to then use surveys. Say you've done these deep dive interviews and you've got a basic understanding of who your customers are, and you really this gives you the motivations. It's about quality, really diving deep. But then you can use surveys to test it out over a large number of people, right? If this really holds. So then you can use what you've learned to then set up a survey and send out to a larger audience or email list, and then see what the consistencies in the answers that are coming out. So these are multiple ways of doing it. But first of all, I would say is make sure you're doing multiple interviews. You're doing 6, 7, 8 of them. You will start seeing that there's 1 or 2 people who are answering completely differently than others. Yeah. And that will already give you that feeling, okay, there is some differences. But you'll also start seeing some of the commonalities coming out. And I think it's more important to say, okay, what's really the common thread that's coming across all of these interviews? And often those will go beyond the demographics, maybe the outliers, but maybe what they really want and what they're looking for is common. And that's what you want to really focus on. Okay.
So I guess how many of these am I doing? In my head, I guess there's 2 ways to do this. I'm like, well, I'm just going to do 20 and see what happens. Or I can talk to, in my ecom businesses, I have the privilege of having a team. I don't know whether the team should do this actually, or the customer service team, or whether I need to do this. Do I say to each one of the customer service team, you need to do 1 call a day with 1 customer, and it is what it is, and we start to do this, and we budget time for that. So and we just do it continually. You get, I guess if we got 3 people in customer service, that's 1,000 calls a year. I don't know. What's the frequency?
The frequency, I think that's something you can decide, and it also depends on the size of business you are, how much support you have, whether you're a sole founder versus like you have a team. All of that is going to impact it. But I would say if you can just even do this on a monthly basis. So if you've never done this before, I would say try and do 8 to 10 people that you can speak to, so that you can get that base done and have that deeper understanding. And then on a monthly basis, I would say even if you're just doing this on a monthly basis, that everybody speaks to 1 to 2 customers, that will keep giving you that consistency. And every time maybe somebody buys, you have new customers, you say, it can be trigger something in your system, and then you can say, hey, let me speak to a few of these people. We have some new buyers in, or there are a couple of people who've been coming back to buy more often. So you can pick and choose. I would say even just doing it on a monthly basis is really good, and you'll be ahead of the curve.
Very good. Now, I'm not going to let you get away with it, or I'm not going to let me get away with it. But when I said, who should do this, my team or me? You said both, and I kind of skipped over it. So I'm now going to circle back to that. Yeah. I just want you to know you were heard. And so why both?
Well, at the end, you're also leading the business, right? And I think it's everybody. I would encourage everybody that's involved in the business in some way. So somebody from the marketing team, not and the customer service team, even somebody from the product team. I would involve everybody. If you have a bigger business where you have different teams,
Mm,
involve all the people because all of them need to understand the customer to be able to best deliver the work they do and then pull those insights together.
mm.
And that makes a difference in everybody's work, I think, that you do. So I wouldn't only leave it to the customer service and the customer facing teams.
I love that. I love that. The guys in the warehouse need to do the calls as well. Freaks
Yes.
them right out, that whole concept of talking to people. That's why they're in the warehouse. They're like, I like headphones and not talking to people. So here's the thing, right? And I'm just going to join two dots together because, this is how my brain works. I'm a big proponent, I'm a big fan of podcasting as a marketing strategy. And here's what I'm thinking when it comes to e-commerce business. I've seen lots of strategies when it comes to podcasting, certainly for e-com businesses. And one of the things that I think you need to do on your podcast is champion your customers, right? So I'm joining two dots. I'm going like, I could do this conversation and take part of, just ask these customers, a question, say, right, if you don't mind, we're going to feature this on the podcast. So then they get featured on the podcast only for maybe like 5 or 10 minutes. Doesn't have to, it's not a whole thing like this, 45 minutes. And that actually works really, really well. And you're in effect taking some research, which is super helpful anyway. You're mixing that with your marketing, which is also super helpful. And you're promoting your customer to a wider audience, which is... I'm winning on every kind of level here. Yes. So I just wanted to join those two dots together. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yes. There's so many ways you can use this. As long as I will emphasize, get permission from your customers.
Absolutely.
And confidentiality is really important. Because obviously also remember that if you do say that you're going to share this somewhere, some people maybe hold back a little more. So just keep that in mind about what part you want to share, what not, and that you're very open to your customers about that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. All top tips. Okay, so obviously the customer interview is a big deal, right? And I'm starting to do this. I'm starting to collect the data. I'm starting to see some patterns, which should hopefully impact my business in some way. I say hopefully because it's not a given, right?
No, the given is it's not just that you're going to get that information, the observations and the insights from it, but it's about how you're going to translate that into your business and consistently. I think what people forget is that, just doing these interviews is not like the magic tool, right? It's going to give you information that you then need to bring into your business and consistently implement, just like you do everything else, into your messaging, into your content, into the ads you're running, into the products you're deciding to maybe launch new products, into your customer service. So it's about consistently implementing that again into it for a longer period of time as well. And it doesn't mean that the whole testing and tweaking that you can eliminate that. You still need to do that. It's just that you'll be able to do more educated testing with the information that you've learned.
So is this then how coming back to the first mammoth question that I opened up with, is this how we build then that sort of long-term loyalty to build that sustainable business?
Yes, absolutely. I think it's all about building customer relationships. So if you don't know who you're speaking to, how can you build that relationship for the long term? So you get to know them, but then make sure that you're consistently translating that into all the aspects of your business, every touch point that your customer is interacting with you, and for a longer period of time, of course, and making sure that, and then I would also really challenge is the part we tend to focus on the most is getting new customers in. But with what you learn, also look at the post-purchase process, because I feel like a lot of people still ignore that a lot. What happens to a customer once they've bought from you? How do you interact with them then? I think that's where you can really use everything you learn to really build that loyalty for the longer term.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, to be honest with you. So I'm doing my customer service interviews. I'm getting this wonderful information. I'm using that data to change my marketing. I'm using that data to inform my post-purchase. one of the things that I've seen, Monica, over the years
Yeah.
is the rise of what I'm going to call customer personas. Okay.
Yeah.
So I remember walking into into one sales director's office, and he had like 5 pictures up on the wall, you know, that he didn't know who these people were, but they had names underneath them. Susan, Simon, and Susan is this, and this, and Simon is, and this was all data that they'd collated from their users. Some of it was demographics, some of it was their desires, some of it was what they do, some of it was what delights them. Remembering your 4Ds, right? So are you a fan of the customer persona idea, or am I in danger of stereotyping too much and I'm forgetting about the individuality of the person? I'm kind of curious as to where you stand on that.
So there are a couple of things I want to say about that. So customer persona, if it's based on real customer interviews, right? Great. But I see most people building those customer personas maybe out of just analytical data, never have really spoken to anybody, or I call that, I always say real over ideal, because ideal is something from your imagination. People call it the ideal customer persona. So as long base it off these actual customer conversations and real understanding, that's important. And to be honest, I think we go into so much details in some of those customer personas. What are people eating, drinking, and what are they reading today? Yes, that's maybe great to start a conversation, but it's not what's going to bring them to your store. I think sometimes we go just down to too much detail that's not even needed. And a little too far. And if you have the time and you want to do it, great. But I don't think it's required, right? It's not required. I think sticking to those 4Ds, really understanding your customer to that level, what's going on in their life, how your products fit into it, the trigger barriers, in the whole purchase process. That's the most important I've seen. And we don't need to go down to really that kind of a level. What is everybody eating, drinking, and watching on Netflix today?
Yeah, too much detail.
Yeah.
So alongside too much detail, what are some of the other problems I need to be aware of or avoid when I'm developing this out?
Well, again, your own thoughts, assumptions. A lot of people like building that in. Understanding that when we are looking into customers, so you have your customer segment, right? The people with the common traits. Within that, you have that real person that you're actually speaking to. And I think a lot of people stop at that level. And what I keep saying is you want to get to that core desires. What is their needs, wants, and desires that they want? And it's not the solution that you're offering yet, but it's really what they want out of life, and what could they be stopping, and making sure that you go down to that kind of a level. Really, the needs and desires, and that's the biggest element I feel missing in a lot of customer personas. They go into more of those behavioral things, and like we said, what are they eating, drinking, or watching today, but they forget what are really those core desires that they want in life, and then seeing how to add your product into that. So really making sure it's based on real information, real conversations. I think you're really going down to the desires levels, and you don't have to go into way too much detail, and just really making sure that you're not building in your own assumptions into it.
So, I'm sorry, I'm busy making notes here, and a lot of it makes a lot of sense to me. I'm smiling because I think a lot of people get into e-commerce so they don't actually have to talk to people.
I know.
A lot of retailers are like, I'm going online because I've had enough of people. And so they just become like a faceless number. And here we are saying, no, you must actually talk to people and base this on real info. So then marketers come along and say, listen, for those of you who don't want to actually talk to people, we can run tests. So we'll split test is a popular thing, isn't it? We'll split test this, and this. And we'll pick whichever is the winning number over here. And that's basically testing your assumptions on 9 times out of 10, right? You're going to go, exactly. I have a theory that ad will outpull that ad. Let's put it out. Let's test it and let's see what happens. But that's based on my assumptions. So here we go. You've told me no assumptions. I've got to use real data, and I've got to find out the desires of the people that I'm talking to.
Yes.
Love it. There are 1,000 people listening to the podcast now just breaking out into cold sweats. They're just kind of going, no, this is not what I want.
But so the funny thing is, if anybody's done any kind of course around growth marketing, growth hacking, one of the first things they say to you in that is know your customer. Mm-hmm. But still people are using their assumptions to do those tests. So there is a disconnect happening over there.
Yeah, absolutely. But for those that are breaking out into a cold sweat, Monica, are there any other tools out there that are going to help me know my customer? Or is it, I mean, beyond obviously doing the interviews, what are the tools out there that I should think about, maybe that I should add to my arsenal? Or is it just literally, no, just focus on the interviews first and then the rest will come?
So absolutely focus on the interviews first, because otherwise, if I don't say that, I can see everyone trying to grab those other tools. uh,
It's totally what's going to happen. It's totally.
and avoid this. But other ways to enrich it are basically, I think, a hidden gem are your testimonials. Especially also negative testimonials of you or your competitors, because then you know what's missing, right? And people look at testimonials only from the product point of view. What are people saying about my product? But if you actually read on it, some people write really pretty descriptive testimonials about, I bought this for my grandchild. It certainly tells you a little more about the person and what reason they bought something for. So I would really say, look into your testimonials, any conversations you've had, email conversations, content, on social media. Then there are obviously sending out surveys. There's so many tools you can use for that, to test it out. And there are more and more. I don't want to name the names because I haven't tested them out yet, but I found out a few more AI-driven tools that scrape things off the internet for you, from all the different brands, and go through the testimonials of all other brands that exist within your category, that can really enrich that kind of data as well. But again, I think this is to enrich it. They still don't allow you to dive deeper into motivations, which is where actual conversations are absolutely essential.
Okay, so there's no getting around it, is there? You're going to have to actually talk to people. Okay, good. Let's just deal with that one. So let's go back then to the desires aspect of it, Monica, because this really intrigues me. And this is something that you keep mentioning.
Yes.
How do you find out the desires? What sort of questions would you ask? So I'm just pulling something off the desk in front of me. If you're a regular to the show, you will know that I have on my desk my Lego Indiana Jones. There it is. Big fan of the old Lego Indiana Jones. I'm kind of curious, right? That's the product, say, that I sell. How would I find out the desires of the person buying that product? What sort of questions would you be asking?
So I think it's more about the technique of the question versus what. Okay. So what we haven't touched on, which is one big thing, is I use a technique called customer story probing, where you invite your customers to tell you stories. See, what we do as humans, again, we rationalize things, right? I didn't need those fourth pair of leggings. I bought them anyway. And I'm explaining it away at home to my husband why I needed it. Because, I didn't have this color, or look at the fit. Whereas I mean, honestly, I just wanted it, right? I'm just trying to explain away the choice. And that's what most of us do. And it's not that we're lying. It's just we don't realize it. It's all subconscious. So just like you use stories in your marketing because they're memorable, they're unique, they evoke emotions, it's the same way if you ask people for stories. They will tell you things that you may not otherwise get in normal questions. Normally we ask people why you bought something, just like a child. If you ever say to a child after they do something they're not supposed to, and you say, why did you do that? They're stumped. It's the same with us as adults, except that we try to explain things away. So, but instead, if you ask them a story versus just why they did something, they will tell you about something that was unique to them, memorable to them, and usually has an emotional element to it. And then you're going to have to dive deeper into, reading between the lines and picking out, hey, what is it there for? What is really important to them? So it's really about more the technique that you use versus the actual questions. Because I think people ask, what makes you happy in life? Well, great. I'll just say, I don't know, dancing, for example. But versus saying, if you just think back to the most recent moment where you felt really happy, tell me a little story about it. The answer you'll get will be completely different. And I can give you a really concrete example. I asked somebody this really recently, and it was about the Christmas break. And I asked this person how they spent their Christmas break. And she said, well, what did you do? And she was like, I was out and about running activities with my kids all day. We had to keep them busy, and we were out and about doing activities, going hiking, going climbing, going for walks, going to the park. I'm like, okay, great. Any brand would now build their whole messaging around this, right? But what I asked, okay, tell me a little moment that really stuck by you, that remember the most? Tell me a little story about it. And then she started telling me about how she was actually, the moments when she was snuggling with her child on the sofa, on the couch, when they were taking those moments of pause. And she kind of just lit up and she could see the difference as well in what she answered. And I was like, so those were actually the moments that were the most important to her. And what really mattered to her was taking that little time out and to pause with her children versus being that busy mom running around something she felt like she had to do. Now, if you're a brand, look at the difference in the messaging you would do and what products you would probably be creating by just having those two different answers.
Yeah, it's very true. Very, very. I like that because, like you say, I guess the brand, two options, haven't you? These trainers will get you from A to B faster, or these sneakers will get you from A to B faster and more comfortable. Or this product gives you a memory making moment or something like that. And that's a very different, they're very good, very good. It's what Netflix did actually when they first started out. If you cast your, I don't know if you, the early days of Netflix, they had a picture of a family watching TV on a couch, all snuggled together. I mean, they couldn't have got any closer together. And you look at the picture and go, there is no way that's comfortable. They're all going to get hot and sweaty, but they all look cozy, and everybody that had a family was like, that's what I want. I want these sort of cozy times with my young kids and my wife, and we're just happy. And I thought it was very clever, and tapped into a success for them using just that imagery.
Yeah, and I think Nike, everybody knows that their whole messaging is around everyone can be an athlete, right? Even you can. So yes, those are the comfortable shoes. They make you run, the comfortable shoes, they make you run faster. But guess what? It makes you healthier if you're exercising. And guess what? Everyone can be an athlete, even you.
I don't know about me, but yeah, no, fair enough. I don't. Listen, Monica, I'm just feel like I'm starting to scratch the surface in all of this. I feel like we could talk for hours. So let me ask you this. My question that I'm starting to ask everybody. This thing's a really interesting question. Okay, so this is more coming back to you. So as you know, the show is sponsored by eCommerce Cohort, which helps e-commerce businesses deliver e-commerce wow to their customers through coaching and training, right? So imagine you have been one of the trainers on Cohort, and let's do this in person rather than online, and you're in a hotel and you've delivered your keynote, how to do the most amazing conversation with your customers. I need a better title. I'm not great with titles, but you know what I mean. And the cohorters are all in the room. They're like, Monica, yeah, you go, Monica. And so afterwards, you sort of, after delivering your keynote speech, you have the opportunity to thank those that have had a massive influence on your life. Just say, I'd like to thank ... Who would be on your list? Almost like at the Oscars, and why?
That's an easy one. That's my mom. Always my mom. First and foremost. She raised us as a single mom here in Holland, in a country that wasn't her own. That time, I'm born and raised here. My sister's born and raised here. It was the three of us growing up. She came from a family back where she was not allowed as a woman to finish her studies. So she came to, she was in Holland. She worked as a receptionist for over 40 years, got us through private international schooling, moved us out of the public system to be able to give us a better opportunity, and used even on that money that she earned, that limited money, even invested in some real estate to give a better life. And we were maybe not doing big holidays every year, but she showed us it's not always about what you earn, it's about what's possible and the opportunities you create for yourself. And I am where I am today. I think a lot owe it to my mom, and I may choose a complete different path being in my own business, but it's just knowing the possibilities you can create for yourself. It's played the biggest role for me in my life, and she's a 3 times cancer survivor as well. So
holy cow.
So she's been through a lot and just showed me what you can do, how positivity and how you can just achieve whatever you want with whatever you have, actually. So yes, it is a maybe cliche answer for many people, but it's true. It's my inspiration.
You'd be surprised, actually. I think out of all the people that I've asked, you're the first person to mention your mum. Yeah, a lot of guys mention their dads, especially if their dads have passed away. That seems to be a common answer to this type of question. But I'm always surprised how many people don't mention their mums. I think maybe we just take our mums for granted, which probably we shouldn't do. but which we shouldn't do. So what's your mum's name?
Usha.
Usha. Sounds like an absolute legend.
Yes,
Wow, that's quite an impressive resume your mum has, that's for sure. So yeah, well done, Usha. Awesome. Now, Miss Monica, how do people reach you? How do they connect with you if they want to do that?
You can follow me on Instagram, Business with Monica. I'm on LinkedIn under my full name. Obviously, you can check out my website, businesswithmonica.com. And we've provided the link, by the way, for the Desires Over Demographics framework, the 4 Ds, with a little checklist under each D. So you can download it if you have missed it, so you also know what kind of questions to ask. And you can you'll be on my email list. So keep in touch that way. And obviously, feel free to reach out if you want to see how I can help work with you. I work with people one-on-one through my brand growth mentorship.
Fantastic. Businesswithmonica.com, Instagram, Business with Monica, LinkedIn. We'll put the link in the show notes. We'll put the link in the show notes actually as well to your Instagram and to your website. You can get the show notes, of course, from the website. You can get the show notes from whatever podcast app you are listening to this show on. And if you're watching it on YouTube, it'll be in the description. Basically, wherever's easiest for you, go grab the links. Monica, listen, I honestly really enjoyed the conversation. You've been an absolute legend, and thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me, and I really enjoyed it as well.
Oh, it's been great. Honestly, I've got pages of notes, so we're all good. We're all good. The team hate it because they're going to go, Matt, what are we doing? I've got lots of good ideas from Monica, guys. Guess what we're going to do? Okay, so we will, of course, link to Monica's info, like I said, in the show notes, which you can get for free along with the transcript at ecommercepodcast.net. Or if you sign up to the newsletter, that will be winging its way direct to your inbox. Again, huge thanks to Monica for joining me today. Great conversation. And also a big shout out to today's show sponsor, the e-commerce cohort. They do have some free training, which you can check out online at ecommercecycles.com. So do have a look at that. And also be sure to follow the e-commerce podcast wherever you get your podcast from, because I have got some more great conversations lined up and I don't want you to miss any of them. Now, before we wrap up today's episode, let me take a quick moment to invite you, dear listener, to become a part of the show. If you are an e-commerce entrepreneur or an expert in e-commerce in a field somewhere and would like to share your insights and experience, just like Monica has done today, well, we would love to hear from you. Or if you know someone who would make a great guest, then do please send them our way. Just head over to our website, ecommercepodcast.net, and get in touch. That would be awesome. Genuinely awesome. I'll tell you what else is awesome. Let me put this on. There you go. You are awesome. Just in case no one's told you today, you are created awesome. It's just a burden you have to bear. Monica has to bear it. I have to bear it. You've got to bear it too. Now, the e-commerce podcast is produced by Orion Media. You can find our entire archive of episodes on your favorite podcast app. The team that makes this show possible is Sadaf Bainon, Estella Robin, and Tanya Hutzelek. Our theme song was written by Josh Edmondson. And as I mentioned, if you would like to read the transcript or show notes, you can find it all on our website, ecommercepodcast.net. Now, that's it from me. That's it from Monica. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a fantastic week. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.